So we have an overheating and battery life plot twist for the DJI Nano, and that doesn't negate the fact that it does overheat. It's still at 4K 60 with DLOG is going to drop around 19 to 20 minutes. The camera will overheat and shut down. But I did the test at 4K 24 because someone suggested that. I was actually about to do 4K 30, and I was like, you know what? Let me do 4K 24. I actually think more people might be interested in that with the DLOG, and it surprised me. All right. First off, it never overheated. So that's actually something very interesting. Now, that doesn't negate the 4K 60 issue, but you can film at 4K 24 for a long time. I was able to get 55 minutes out of this camera, just the camera on its own, just sitting in a stable 77-degree environment at 4K 24 with DLOG turned on. So that's pretty incredible. And then the second thing that I found really interesting is when I put it back in, it was at 1%, all right? Camera was at 1%. I was able to film at 1% until 1 hour and 25 minutes. Like, that's crazy. And I'm gonna have all the data dropping right here. The main thing for you to know is that the first number that you're seeing, that 60, 65, 70, that's like the actual 5-minute increments because I tracked this at 5-minute increments. And you can see the first set is where the pod battery or the camera battery is draining from 92 to 84 to 76 and so on. And then the slash is gonna be the actual camera pod, the vision dock. So I gotta make sure I'm using my terms correctly. The vision dock, and then once I plugged it into the vision dock at the 55-minute mark, you'll notice that the camera stays at 1%, and then the vision dock starts dropping, 89, 82, 76, 70, and so on. You can see how it dropped over the time. And then at 1 hour and 26 minutes, not overheating, but due to this camera just dying, it stopped filming. And when I plug this in, interestingly enough, this is like 30 to 40 minutes later, okay, from the time that this thing died. I let everything cool down. I wanted to see if it would recharge. It will not recharge the camera. The vision dock has been sitting at 10% for this whole time. So I wanted to wait until this moment to plug it in so that we could explore this together while I answered some of the questions that are showing up on the YouTube channel because I love that. Like, one of my favorite things is jumping into the comments and seeing people's like actual questions and comments and things. And then rather than just giving my straight opinion, trying to share like my reasoning and my experience for that. So this will go ahead and start charging. And one thing that I will say is this. I like using 4K 60. And it seems like unless you are doing long form filming in 4K 60, then that won't be an issue for you. Because if you're filming in 4K 24 or 4K 30, I did a 4K 30 test as well. I did do that. And it went for just right around an hour. And then it died. Okay, so it went for a very long time. Actually, no, it was over an hour. I think it was 105 minutes that it filmed before it died, and it did overheat at 4K 30. So there is something there. But at 4K 24, no overheating issues. It just went through. One thing that see now we're actually getting a power sign on the vision dock. Okay, that's interesting. Or sorry, on the camera. Man, I got to keep these terms right. On the camera. So for whatever reason, when the camera hits 10% or when the dock hits 10%, it will no longer charge the camera. I'm not exactly sure why on that. Maybe it's just so that you could plug it in or something. But anyway, you couldn't charge the camera anymore when the dock was at 10%. It's some sort of a feature there. The camera did get hot, but not as hot as it did at the 4K 30 and the 4K 60. And so my thinking is this. If you are going to not film at 4K 60, if you're trying to get 4K 24 or 4K 30, overheating probably won't be an issue. If you're filming at higher frame rates like 4K 60 or something like that, and if you're not filming in the DLOG setting, you should be able to be fine for the overheating. My bigger thing with this entire setup is two things. One, somebody brought up that I had talked about is this part right here, these pins. I have concerns about the placement of these pins and just how that interaction is going on. But somebody asked, hey, what about the Go Ultra? Doesn't it have pins? And I hadn't really thought about that or noticed that before just because of how they are recessed. But it does have pins right there, okay? The thing for me is, number one, these pins are a little bit shorter in that part, so they're less likely to get caught on anything. And the way that this goes in, it's not really possible to get any sort of movement on those. All right. Whereas with this, you do get the movement because of the way this releases. There is like some connection there. So I'm just a little more wary of those pins being impacted by like the on and off. The other thing for me is I do not remove this camera from this pod as often. Because anytime that I don't absolutely have to have the camera separate, it's just sitting here. And so I'm regularly filming, you know, like this, or I'm filming like this. Those kinds of things are going on, and I'm not having to remove the camera at all. The issue for me with the DJI, which I've talked about before, is I am constantly in a position where I'm like taking it off to put it back on, to get this shot, to turn it around, to get this shot, like all of that. So it is a much more interactive experience, I guess is the word that I would use. And so those are kind of like my final things. Now, I mean, 126 minutes, 2 hours before the camera died, I don't think anyone should be concerned about that. Like, that's exceptional, right? I put it back in the pod, it maintained the battery until that time. And so you could see we've been filming for what, like 5 minutes, and I plugged it in a little bit in, and I'm already at 22 and 9%. So that's doing pretty good. I think my thinking is this, and somebody asked me, so if you're trying to choose between these two cameras, I believe it comes down to price and maybe the image quality. And then like the secondary thing is like the screen and stuff like that. But if you're making content, I really like the user experience of the Go Ultra, the way that I can hold it, the way that I can pop it out and all that kind of stuff. If you're really just focused on that image quality, and for you that D-Log is extremely important, and maybe 60 frames per second, and in the D-Log is going to be something that you're going to use regularly, then I do think that the Ultra or the Nano is the way to go for that individual, right? If you're trying to color grade it with your Osmo Pocket 3, your DJI drones, like all of that kind of stuff, and the image out of this camera is incredible. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, this camera is totally trash. Like it's not. It can definitely serve a purpose. I just find myself wanting to use it less and less, and really looking to get back to this one more, even though I'm making all these comparison videos. Yeah, I really like this experience better. And the fact that I now have the Mic Air connected to this, and I can see myself even when this is disconnected, and right now we don't have that, but even if we do get that at some point, I still go back to the other issues for me with this camera. That's kind of where I sit. So let me know if you have any questions. I try and read all of the comments and either like the comment or respond to the comment if I feel like there's a question that I could answer. If there's not like a direct question or something that I could respond to, then I usually just like the comment just to let you guys know that I was there. And I like the fact that I can do that right now. I'm not at this massive following or exposure where I can't get to all the comments pretty easily and pretty fast. Like I have it, and literally I'm at the point still where I have notifications on my phone. So like I get a notification when someone comments on the video so that I can get there as fast as possible. And I'm sure there will come a point, I hope the day comes, where I have to like turn that notification off, but I'm not there yet. So thank you for being part of the OG crew that's helping me well, that's like interacting with the channel and responding to that. And I believe that like that has to be a two-way street where I have to continue to give value that you guys are enjoying and benefiting from, and that I'm responding to that as best as I can. So I hope this helped you. We got to 20% right there, and I'd say that's pretty good for this entire thing. And again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I love getting in there and trying to respond to them as fast as I can. I am still leaning more and more towards returning this camera personally, just because of this entire experience overall. I just don't see myself getting to a place where I'm going to be using that as much. I'm just going to end up grabbing the Go Ultra, and that's kind of where I am. So I hope this helped you. Let me know if you have any questions. And I just said the same thing a couple of times, but we're just gonna end there. So remember, you're going to sink or swim. It's rise with the tide, and I'll see you on the flip side.